Hey there, crafters, DIYers, and bunny lovers. I'm Cindy, my husband is Chris. Welcome to CnC DIY Factory. Today we have a video dedicated to bunnies. I'll be incorporating transfers, rice paper, some textured paint, and two of our very own designs and handmade wood frames. So hit that subscribe button, turn on their notification bell. Let's hop on over into the fun. Ready? Let's go. For project 1, I'm starting off with some DIY paint in faded burlap and summer crush, and I'm going to mix these two together to get the perfect terracotta color that I want to use for these two little white bunnies. I think I got these bunnies at the Target spot a year or so ago. I think they were $1 a piece. To get the textured look, I'm taking this Saltwash powder form and I'm going to add it to my little tray, and then I'm going to incorporate this mixed DIY paint in the terracotta color into the powder. You don't need a whole lot. I'm actually making more than what I will need for this project, but this gives, you want a consistency of like a thick peanut butter. Once your mixture is to the consistency that you're looking for, and in this case it's like a thick, sticky, smooth peanut butter, you're going to take your chip brush, dip it into your paint, and then you'll stipple it onto your surface. You don't want to brush it on, you want to stipple it on. So you're going to pounce it on to your bunny and create peaks and valleys. And I will apply this mixture to both of the bunnies and allow it to dry thoroughly. The DIY paint does dry down a little lighter than what it will end up being once it's sealed. And you'll see here with these two bunnies, they are completely dry and the color is beautiful. The DIY paint does need to be sealed, so I'm going to go with the DIY clear wax, and I'm going to seal both of these bunnies. I'm going to apply the wax and then gently rub off the excess. You can see how the DIY clear wax changes the color again of the DIY paint as it's being applied. But don't worry, once it is fully cured, it will not be this dark. It will dry back down to a lighter tone. Once I've applied the DIY clear wax to both bunnies, I'm going to go back in and apply the DIY white wax. Putting the clear wax on there first allows the ability to wipe back the colored waxes that you use much easier, so it doesn't absorb into the color of the paint and change it. When applying a colored wax like this white wax, I work in small sections so that it doesn't have time to dry, and I have more control of how much of the wax I want to pull back. You'll see here how it just really makes all of those peaks and valleys in the paint in the textured paint and in the crevices of the bunny just pop. For project 2, we're going to be using CnC DIY Factory's original Easter egg and carrot frame with easel. It's a DIY kit that can be found on our website. And the link is in the description of this video. We'll be using all DIY products with this project. We're going to start with the white swan from DIY, and we're going to paint the back of the frame, the Easter egg, in white swan. We are using one of Connie Lines and Design's rice paper for this project. This is called Triplets. Did you know that CnC DIY Factory is a retailer for the Connie Lines and Designs rice paper? We are. They are all on our website. This paper comes in two different sizes. This is the 3x5 triplets, and then it also comes in a full 8x11 sheet called Alley Rose triplets. They're absolutely adorable. Once I have the triplets rice paper centered onto the back of the egg, I'm going to use my DIY liquid patina crystal clear chandelier and decoupage this rice paper to the back of the egg. I fold back the top section of the rice paper and I lay down a nice thin layer of the liquid patina. Then I spritz the rice paper with my mister, lay the rice paper back down, and then go over the top of it with some more liquid patina to seal that into the back piece. And I continue this process to adhere the rest of the rice paper to the back of the egg. While that's drying, we're going to move on to painting the frame. We're going to start with Aviary from DIY Paint. We'll paint the entire front of the egg frame along with the two easel pieces. Next, we're going to move on to the carrot. For this, we're going to be using Aviary, Summer Crush, Apothecary, and White Swan. The Apothecary and the White Swan are used to give just a little bit of a highlight to both the carrot top and the carrot. And I'll be painting both sides of this carrot because you will be able to see the other side from the back. Once everything is dried completely, now it's time to assemble the frame. I'm using Stick Fast in thick, and I'm going to apply a bead of it around the bottom side of the egg frame, and I'm going to adhere it to the back of the egg piece. You'll want to hold that for just a few moments just to let the glue set. Once that has set, I'm going to adhere the carrot to the upper right corner of the frame so I don't cover up any of the cuteness of those triplets. Once the glue has set and everything is dry, we need to clear this because we use the DIY paint. So we're going to use the DIY clear wax. And I'm going to apply it over the entire surface of the frame and the two easel pieces. This sweet little frame could have been cleared with a polyacrylic, a spray sealer, or some other type of sealant that you choose. But I chose the DIY clear wax because I'm going to go back in with that Howard's Chalk-Tique in dark, and I'm going to add just a little bit of dimension to this frame. Project 3 is going to be a quick and easy upcycle. This rice paper, I believe I bought it from Janie Ray Vintage, and I've had it in my collection for well over a year, waiting for the perfect piece to pair it with. This beautiful frame was found at Marshall's and it was on clearance, and I got it for $3. I cut out a piece of white cardstock so that I could put it behind the bunny and help the bunny's colors pop. Now all I have to do is trim the bunny to the size that I need it to fit into the frame and put it all back together. Not all DIY projects and thrift flips require multiple steps and paint. Sometimes all you need is a thrifted frame and a piece of rice paper. A quick and easy DIY for springtime. For Project 4, we're using another CnC DIY Factory original design DIY frame. You're actually getting a sneak peek because this has not been released on our website as of this video. The size we're using today on this last project is a 5x7. For this project, we're going to be using the DIY cottage colors in crockery, and then we're going to be using two different Minwax water-based stains in navy and verdigris. We start by doing a heavy dry brush with the crockery over the back piece of the frame, as well as all sides of the actual frame itself. Once the crockery DIY cottage colors is dry, we're taking the navy blue Minwax water-based stain and our water mister, and we're going to apply the stain to the top 2/3 of the backboard, wiping away the excess to bring back some of that crockery color underneath. We'll use our water mister to pull back even more of the stain in certain areas on the board. And for the bottom third of the board, we're going to mist it and then apply the verdigris in that gorgeous green Minwax water-based stain and wipe back the excess. Now for the middle section on this board, I want the crockery to show through more than the stain will, so I'm going to apply more water and pull back more of that stain to lighten up that center section. Now for the actual frame itself, we're just going to use the verdigris green, and we're going to apply it to the entire frame, mist it, and then we're going to wipe it back to reveal this beautiful grassy green color on this frame. We will have 10 different sizes of these frames. They're solid wood, handcrafted by CnC DIY Factory, and the sizes will range from a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch all the way up to a 16 inch by 20 inch frame. I'll be using a transfer from Essential Stencil in the Vintage Floral Bunnies set. I've selected this sweet little bunny with this headband of flowers to fit inside of this 5x7 frame. To apply a transfer, you peel off the backer, which is the white piece. Once your transfer is down, rub your hand across it to make sure you've got all the bubbles and air pockets out of there. And then you take your transfer tool. My transfer tool has a piece of tape on it so that I can find it because it's clear. But then you take your transfer tool and you rub across the entire surface of the transfer. Then I start in a corner and I work around all of the edges to make sure all of the edges are transferring from that transfer sheet onto my surface. And I work slowly to make sure I don't miss any pieces. And I work down and across the entire image. Now, if something does not transfer down from the transfer sheet, I will lay that back down, rub over it, and it will transfer back onto my surface. Then once I have the entire image transferred, I'll take that transfer sheet, that clear transfer sheet, and I'll rub back over it just to burnish it all in and make sure there's no pieces sticking up. I'm going to use my 220 sanding grit sponge, and I'm just going to lightly sand over the top of this image. Unless you're working on a glass surface, all transfers should be sealed, so there's no chance of it coming up. For my sealer today, I'm going to be using the Wise Owl varnish in matte finish. Any sealant can be used, whether it's a DIY, liquid patina, big top, or a spray sealer. I decided I wanted to add a mold to the frame, so I'm using the IOD Trimmings 2, and I'll be using that flower trim. I'm using my Alumilite fast cast resin to make some molds. This resin is a 50-50 mixture of part A and part B. So I measured them out in my little measuring cups and I mixed them together in this silicone cup. Once the two components are added together, you have about 30 seconds to mix it and another minute to pour it. So you gotta move quickly. Be sure to wear your gloves because this will not come off of your jewelry. Please be sure to read and follow the manufacturer's guidelines on safety for these resin products. Once you've poured your resin into the mold, you have about 10 minutes for it to set up, and then you can demold it. I have already cast 3 other molds of this trim, so this is my 4th casting. I am demolding this trim piece before it is fully set so that I am able to trim it down to the size that I need. It cuts and molds much easier when it's still pliable. Once I have all 4 of my trimming pieces, I'm going to paint them with the crockery from DIY Cottage Colors. Once the trimming pieces are dried, it is time to adhere them to the frame. I'm using Titebond Quick and Thick. I like to transfer it into this little squeeze bottle. It's easier to squeeze out. I run a bead of glue down the center of the trimming and then I feather it to the edges with my finger so that it is less likely to squeeze out the edges of the trimming once I apply it to the frame. The DIY Cottage Colors has a sealer built into it, so that doesn't need to be sealed. However, the Minwax Stain does not have a sealer. So I'm going to use my DIY clear wax and I'm going to seal the entire frame and the back piece with the DIY clear wax. Once I have finished applying the clear wax, I'm going to come back in with this Howard's Chalk-Tique wax in dark, and I'm going to apply that to the frame as well. This is going to bring out all of the beautiful details in that trimmings mold. I'm also going to add that Howard's Chalk-Tique wax in dark around the outside edge of that backer board with the bunny, just to help give it a little bit of age and dimension. Once I've finished with the wax, I can add the backer board to the frame, and this project is complete. Well, that's a wrap on today's DIYs. I hope you had as much fun as I did making these adorable bunny creations. Tell me in the comments which one is your favorite or if I have inspired you to try something new. 2 of the frames that I used in today's DIYs can be found on our website, and the link is in the description below. If I have inspired you and you love these projects, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more DIYs. And if you try any of these crafts, please tag me. I would love to see what you create. Until next time, keep practicing random acts of crafting and let's make something great together. Bye for now.